Hi there, it's Emily Davis. I've decided to answer some of the questions that I've seen about nonprofit management, board leadership, fundraising from the comfort of my home and my socially distanced wardrobe. And so I thought I'd start today with a question I saw all about check signing privileges at a nonprofit and who signs checks. The first thing you need to know about check signing is that you really need an internal controls policy and financial processes, so an accounting manual to make this all work. If you have an executive director or CEO, either one, they're interchangeable in terms of names, you want to make sure that that individual has the ability to sign at least some checks. I've had an example in the past where an organization did not give the executive director any check signing ability because there was previous embezzlement by another executive director, and it really tied the hands of the organization in terms of their operations and getting things done. If you think about it, if the executive director has no check signing power, you're constantly trying to find either a board member, another staff member, or whoever it might be to sign checks, and it really makes the organization sort of ineffective in a way. But having said that, most organizations have an amount up to which an executive director can sign checks. So think about things like payroll. You want your executive director to be able to sign off on that. Maybe costs for vendors, paying for systems like your database. All of these things are appropriate things for an executive director to be able to sign off on without a second signature. Now, your organization needs to decide what's best for them in terms of having a second signator. Most people will have their treasurer or perhaps a chief financial officer or a board chair serve as a second signator on checks over a certain amount. That could be 5,000, it could be 10,000, it could be, 50,000. It depends on the organization. So when someone asks the question, who should sign the checks at an organization, it really depends on the checks, the staffing, the board, and then your internal controls policy. And if you have an internal controls policy, you're going to want to review it and update it as necessary. Or if you don't have one, to go ahead and write one. And in just a short summary, internal controls policies are set by the board, and they're really about the segregation of duties, meaning financially, who's responsible for what? What are the checks and balances? If you have one person opening, say, checks to deposit, recording those checks to deposit, signing off on them, and depositing them, you sort of have the best case scenario for potential embezzlement. And since we're accountable to the public as nonprofits, we have a higher standard that we operate by in terms of transparency and best practices. So those internal controls policies really designates who does what, and protects the organization against things like embezzlement whenever you possibly can. And again, with things like internal controls policies, you hope you never have to use them. But in the rare case that that happens, and you do need to use it, at least you have it there. And the board's job is really to provide that fiscal and legal oversight. So that's why they're responsible for making sure that's in place and approved and followed through on. So that's my answer to the question, who signs checks at a nonprofit? And again, the consultant's answer is it depends. There's nuance to it. But go ahead and take a look at what internal controls policy you have, update it, revise it as needed. And then if you don't have one, I'd strongly recommend checking out the nonprofit policy sampler from BoardSource, which gives sample policies of all kinds, including an internal controls policy. So I hope that this answered some questions, and watch for more soon. I'll probably be wearing a sweatshirt again. Have a great day. Bye.